Hi Forge students, this is Peter Burns. I'm going to be helping you with your legislative simulation at the Forge Summit. We're super excited for this year. We're going to be doing it in the State House in Columbus, which is just an incredible opportunity for you to sit where state legislators sit and make policy every session. And you guys are going to get to sit there in their seats and go through the process. It's going to be a great way for you to learn kind of the importance of the legislative process for making policy and affecting positive change through government. We're just going to take a few minutes to go over some of the legislative package information that I've sent out to you. This package has everything you're going to need for the summit, so let's go through the documents one by one. You're going to have 4 documents in the email you received, and I'm going to just go over them really quickly and show you a couple demo videos from the actual State House. The first document we're going to take a look at is the Legislative Rules document. Once you get past general information, you're going to see Committee Procedure and On the Floor as the 2 main sections in this document. This document should really become kind of your handbook. The better you know this coming into the summit, the more effective you'll be able to be during the legislative simulation. Don't worry, you don't have to memorize everything in the legislative rules. All the phrases that you're going to need to be able to use on the House floor and in committee are going to be provided for you in a procedural cheat sheet that we're going to hand to you as we're starting the simulation. And you're going to be able to reference that and quickly pull out, the language for making a motion to amend or moving to pass a bill or even just asking a question. I'm going to take a minute to talk about committee process. You're basically going to have a chairman that calls the meeting to order, and then he's going to recognize different members to lay out their bills. These are going to be bills that you as members have written and brought to the summit to try and pass through the legislature. You'll get up and you'll present your bill and explain it to the committee. Then the committee members will have a chance to ask you questions, and we'll also have some people there role-playing as witnesses.
Committee to order.
Take a minute now and watch this example video from a real committee meeting in the Ohio State House.
Antonio, Boyce, Berkeley, Sarah.
So as you can see, the committee just was called to order.
Davila, Duffy, Sykes, Thompson's checked in. We have a quorum present. We'll proceed as a full committee. The first bill I want to call up today is House Bill 475 for its 4th hearing. Is there anyone here to testify on House Bill 475?
And the chairman is laying out a passed bill that they were working on.
I recognize Vice Chair Ryan for an amendment.
Motion to amend House Bill 475.
The amendment number?
Amendment 2461.
You have a member adding an amendment.
The amendment would change the amount of the cap from $75 million to $40 million.
Is there any discussion on the amendment? Is there any objection to the amendment? Hearing none, it will become part of the bill.
And no one is opposed to the amendment, so the amendment is acceptable, and they don't even need to vote on it. It's just added. Without any objection, it's added to the bill.
Representative Sarah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's Amendment 2405.
And you now have another member laying out an amendment.
Yes, thank you. This amendment would hold harmless for any loss of the combined 1.8 million loss of revenue, which may be less now since that last amendment.
And the chairman doesn't like this amendment, so he's going to have, he has the vice chair move to table the amendment.
Of revenue from the tax reduction.
Thank you, Representative. I think at this point in time, it's not something that we want to recommend. So with that, I recognize Vice Chair Ryan.
Thank you, Chairman. I move that Amendment 2405 be laid upon the table.
But there's an objection to that.
There's an objection to laying Amendment 2405 on the table. Would the clerk please take the roll on the motion to lay it upon the table?
Smith?
Yes.
So they're going to have to call a vote. So they're going to call the roll.
Treehouse? Anielski?
No.
Antonio?
No. Yes.
Sprague?
Yes.
Sykes?
No.
Thompson?
With 15 affirmative votes and 11 negative votes, Amendment 2405 fails to become part of the bill and is hereby laid upon the table.
And the amendment is tabled. This is the exact procedure you will be using on your committee meetings.
What's the pleasure of the committee as to House Bill 475?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we favorably report House Bill 475.
The motion before us is to favorably approve House Bill 475. Would the clerk please take the roll?
Smith,
Yes.
Then
Ryan.
voting to pass a piece of legislation out of committee
Danielski.
and report it to the full House.
Antonio,
And that's exactly what
Lewis.
you will do. And once you've
Berkeley.
passed a bill out of your committees, it's going to go to the
Sarah.
full House, and when we have a floor session,
Clyde.
those bills will start coming up on the calendar. So you'll have a chance to pass your bill in the
Erickson.
committee, then go to the floor of the
Noel.
House and debate it
O'Brien.
on the floor of the House.
Patterson, Morales,
All that committee procedure and more is laid out in the rules, in the legislative rules, so look over those before you come.
Romanchuk,
Next, we're briefly going to look at what floor procedure looks like.
Bills for third consideration.
Subject to Senate Bill 242, Senators Eaker, Coley, and others to amend and enact sections of the revised code, revise the law governing new motor vehicle franchise agreements.
Question is, shall the bill pass? The chair recognizes the representative from Napoleon, Representative McCullough.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is pretty simple. It makes
Floor procedure in Ohio is pretty straightforward. It's a lot like committee procedure, but there's not as much dialogue. In floor procedure, you really have one member after another getting up and sharing their opinion on a bill. The speaker's going to call you to order. You're going to have a invocation and then the pledge, and then you're going to get right into debate with a speaker, with a member being recognized to lay out the first bill on the calendar.
Agreed to. Bills for third consideration.
Amend and substitute Senate Bill 97, Senator Hughes, LaRose, and others to amend and enact sections of the revised code, provide that a person who purposely caused the death of another as part of a course of conduct involving the purposeful killing.
And the calendar is going to be the order in which we go through the bills as they're passed out of committee. So the speaker's prerogative will be to set the calendar. You're going to want to go to the speaker and ask him to make sure that they get your bill on the calendar if your bill passes out of committee. And hopefully it's close to the top of the calendar so you have time to get to it before you run out of time for debate. That's an important part of the legislative process, is making sure you get your bill heard in committee early on and out onto the floor so it has time to be debated, amended, and passed.
Question is, shall the bill pass? The chair recognizes the representative from Montgomery County, Representative Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to amend Amendment 2530.
Here's one more example video from the real Ohio State House. This is a bill on the floor getting amended.
Amendment is in order. You may proceed to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Permission to speak to the amendment and the bill.
Permission granted. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll get to the amendment in a minute. I rise in support of Senate Bill 97.
As you can see, it's pretty simple. A bill is laid out. The member who authored the bill has a chance to speak on it, and then other members have a chance to speak. If you wish to speak on a bill, you're going to go to the clerk and register to speak for or against, and as your turn comes to speak, the speaker will call on you, you'll rise at your desk, and address the body. Another big part of the learning in the legislative simulation is that you get to write your own bills. This is a really cool way for you to start proactively thinking about positive legislative changes that could be made in your state. The documents we've provided to help you prepare your own bills are an example bill. That's the HB template. If you open that up, you're going to see the basic layout for a bill. Go on ahead and format your bill so it looks like the bill in this example. We've also provided you with a really handy how to write a bill doc. This document gives you a basic outline of how to prepare your bill. It's simple things like picking your topic, doing your research, making sure you know what your goal is, then start writing. As you format your bill, try to keep it under 300 words just so it's easy to discuss and debate and students have time to read it. If you're having trouble coming up with ideas of what to write your bill on, we've provided a document that lists bill topic ideas. This sheet has tons of different issue areas that you can choose to write a piece of legislation on. Once you've written your bill, you'll go on ahead and email it to me at peter@forgeleadership.org. Once you arrive at the summit, those bills will be ready for you to consider in your committees. All right, I've thrown a lot of information at you, but don't freak out. This is going to be a really fun experience. It's like a huge group game that goes on for days. Basically, you're going to be working on polishing up your persuasive skills, learning to build coalitions and teamwork with other people to pass bills over opposition from other coalitions that are going to be building at the summit. I think you guys are going to have a blast, and we're excited to see your bills as you guys begin crafting your own policy ideas. Shoot me an email if you have any questions, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.